Next, we want to kind of touch on keeping what we've done to keep the rate increase as low as possible. We've implemented on January the time of use rates to shift usage away from peak periods. We're pursued grants like Jake CM grant, and we've done low-cost financing for some equipment such as the water vac trailer and the backyard machine. We've really enhanced our capital plan process, which allows us to prioritize that spending and really strengthen the planning aspect of it. We've maintained strong financial policies such as the minimum cash reserve, and we're doing a cost of service every 5 years. And we've improved operational efficiencies. We went from like a decentralized procurement to a centralized procurement. So just want to make note, we are looking at it from two sides. We're really trying to control costs while making sure revenue is adequate for the utility. So what could be some impacts if we delay, a rate adjustment? We could have deferred infrastructure improvements. We could have reduced available cash. And this is something that I'm exploring, our minimum cash reserve, about adding a component for like climate impacts. I'm sure you guys all remember the ice storm in northern Michigan. That was a significant cost to those utilities, and for us just to be prepared to pay for that if it happens here at Traverse City Light and Power. We also, we could have less financial liquidity during emergencies, higher borrowing costs if we don't have enough reserves when the rating agencies come review our financials. It could lead to larger future rate increases and higher long-term costs. And really our goal is rate stability and not avoiding like a large adjustment in the future. So we recognize that a rate adjustment does not, affect all customers equally, and that's why affordability programs need to be part of the strategy. I am super excited. We just met with Salvation Army today. I mean, it's, the second time we met with them to implement them, doing the low income assistant program on our behalf. So this really means that we get to keep the funds local for our ratepayers, and there's less chance of those funds being run out, which has happened at the state. So it's super exciting. This program is, the eligibility is based on family size and household income. If they don't meet those, we refer them to other agencies within the area, such as Father Fred, the Community Action Agency, and so forth. We created a customer cares program a while ago, and we talked to a couple of agencies. We kind of had difficulty like launching it. I also did an RFP. But we're talking with Salvation Army. They seem cooperative to launch this program in accordance with LEAF, but in January. So this really targets those people that are just having a financial hardship due to medical benefits and so forth. So we're excited about that to move that forward. This is a nice slide on energy burden. Colin found this on the Department of Energy. Basically what it says is a household is considered to be energy burden if the energy costs are 6% or more of the household income. Where we are, it's a range of 1% to 3%, but mostly Leelanau and Grand Traverse County is at 2%. So we're kind of at the lower end of the spectrum. And I just really wanted, touch upon the opportunities for customers to reduce their bills. Because rates determine the price of electricity, but customer behavior and our available programs can make a meaningful impact on their monthly bill. So as you know, we have energy efficiency improvement incentive programs for all rate classes. We have financing options where they can make those energy efficient improvements and amortize those improvements over 3 to 5 years. We have demand response programs. So once again, time of use rates where they could shift to a lower price point. We have the Voltus program, so customers can earn incentives by reducing usage peak demand. And then we have electrification, so transition from natural gas to electric. Example is heat pumps, and that can reduce the overall customer's energy bill. The next slide just shows our historical rate adjustments. So in 21-22, we had 2.5, then 2.5, then we kind of took a break with a no rate adjustment. 24-25 was our last base rate adjustment at 5%, and then we're proposing this year for 26-27 another 5%. These next slides The purpose is to show how TCLP rates compare with other utilities. I think the key takeaway is that TCLP remains competitively positioned related to the other utilities in the state of Michigan. And this information was obtained from EIA. It's 2024 data. So the residential rate class, you can see we're pretty close on top. Same with the commercial. The industrial rate class, it doesn't look like all utilities reports that information, but we're still, in the top quartile. And then overall, we're still leaning towards the top for all rate classes. So I just kind of want to go over the structure of the rate adjustments. We have 16 tariffs. I wasn't planning on going through each one of those. But overall, for the phase-in rates, we widen the differential peak between on-peak and off-peak, which was the plan over the next 4 years. So we get that price differential. We reduce the demand rates because we want those to be focused on distribution costs and move all those power supply costs into the variable rates to incentivize those customers to change their behavior. And then the customer charge, we increase that to align with our fixed costs recovery. So as I mentioned, the next 16 slides are all our tariff rates. I'll just kind of go over a few of them. So the residential eco study, that's on the majority where our customers are. If you focus on the top left graph, you see that overall it's about a 5% increase, but with a low consumption use, it's harder to spread that increase in the monthly facilities charge, so you have a little bit higher increase and a little bit lower increase as the consumer consumes more energy. I am happy to announce that we do have residential customers participating in all 4 of our tariff rates, which I think is exciting. So I was just going to touch upon the commercial. It's the same as the residential. The lower consumption user will have a little bit higher increase and then kind of decline as that consumption increase because we're spreading that increase of that fixed asset cost recovery. The commercial demand, this chart assumes that demand stays the same, but consumption increases. So that's why you see that gradual increase in rates. And that would be the same for industrial. Okay. So thanks to Colin, we were able to do these charts. So it really shows the impact of the rates on the different consumption levels. So a low residential consumer will have an impact of $3.74 per month. A mid consumption residential users would be $5.60, and high consumption is $10.10. So, for the average residential, based on the level of consumptions, I feel these are relatively modest monthly impacts while still generating the revenue necessary to maintain the system and do our strategic priorities. Moving on to commercial, the monthly charge increase would be $12.86. Our commercial demand, which is about 10 times the consumption of the commercial customer, will be $93.43. Yeah, so the next 2 slides, we got to take in consideration. I know it's probably a larger increase, but they also are a larger consumer of electricity. And the industrial will be $728.09. So some good news, during the budget, I projected the power service cost recovery, which is the flow through of our purchase power cost, to be 0.02 cents. I put in some actual costs to date. Already it's declined to 0.018, and I also have some favorable information in July, which will probably further reduce that. Thank you to the CT guys. They're running the CT generator during high peak times when they're called, which is helping reduce that purchase power cost. Also, we had capacity costs, but we were long during the summer, thankful to our solar contracts that will not always be in existence because of a change in methodology of accreditation by go into that. But we were able to sell that excess capacity at a favorable rate on the MISO capacity auction, so that also significantly reduced costs. So we do expect, I do expect the PCR to further reduce. I just don't have the actual numbers to reflect that. And then just a housekeeping item. As you know, we did Brewery Creek. So we had a new processing fee with a GM collaboration with that. So I just wanted to simplify the tariff language and say that we adder to the tariff rate would be the processing fee instead of kind of listing each and every one, as we're with kind of have regular charge point with GM, and then Red E. So I just kind of wanted to end. I hope you heard in this presentation that we are trying to keep costs low. We're mindful of the impact on our customers. We are looking for grants and financing strategies to kind of amortize costs over the years and keep things low. But we need this rate increase to maintain the financial capacity to continue to invest in great reliability for our customers, infrastructure, sustainability, and future system needs. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I have a quick question on the page with the low consumption, mid consumption, high consumption by each type of rate class on the residential. What percentage of the customers fall into each one of those buckets?
That's a great question. I don't have that. That's something I can get for you.
I'm just thinking on the street, if people say, oh, 5%, you know, what's that going to cost me? It probably isn't, you can't make the leap to say, well, it's about $5 because it really depends on their consumption.
Right, but I mean, our average.
It's the range.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, for most people, our average would be the mid-consumption of $5.60. But yeah, I don't know exactly.
And it depends on which time of use program they're enrolled into.
Yeah.
Is it a normal bell curve, do you think, where like there's, on the low consumption, we've got fewer, and on the high, fewer, and then the average is
Yes,
mid?
I would expect that, but
Okay.
I can like
Okay.
run that data for
I'm
you.
just curious. You don't
Yeah.
have to run any data.
I have 2 questions, maybe 3.
Okay.
We'll see how many we get to. The first one is at our budget meeting, I think it was Lance actually who called out the,
About to bring this up.
sorry,
Yes.
the credit card processing fee, and that we're
Yes.
right now absorbing that. I am curious, because that could be a quick answer to folks, oh, how do I make up that $5 a month? Maybe pay with your bank account, not your credit card. And so I'm curious if we've made any progress on passing that cost back on to the customers as opposed to absorbing that cost. So that's my first question. My second question is, in the last rate increase, what feedback, if any, did we get from customers? Did we see any trends toward like reducing energy consumption that were positive, anything like that that would be helpful? And then the third one within that is if there's anything specific that we've been hearing from industrial customers, because they're facing those higher rates. They use a lot of electricity, so I think that's appropriate. I'm not pushing back against that, but I know that we're always very like, you know, we want to make sure they know what's coming too. So those are the 3.
So the first one, we have not made any progress on looking at absorbing the credit card processing fees. The second one, on the last rate increase, we have very minimal feedback from customers, maybe 1 or 2, to be honest. That's usually the max. The industrial customers, we haven't heard from except maybe 1. Yeah, and so last month was the first time that the summer peak for our time of use, and the bills went out at the beginning of the month, and I have not heard any feedback.
Thank you.
So would there be an opportunity to, sort of riffing off what you said, Laura, all right, how much more am I going to be paying a month? Like, well, there's this much that you might be paying if you're a mid-consumption user, and you could pay like X number of dollars less per month if you were an eco champion, or, some sort of way for
Right.
people to think about, like, doesn't have to be that much, because there are opportunities within the rate structure to be able to have some control over that. I can see that possibly coming up for the public comment, or the public hearing.
If there could be a calculator somewhere around that. I did have the team at the front desk run that actually for me a couple weeks ago, and we switched what I'll personally be paying on, and it should save essentially, I think it was like $87 a year. So just based on my current usage. So if we could offer that as part of like the PR campaign around this, like,
And we do.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so anytime a customer calls, we run that data really quick
Yeah,
for
no,
them.
it's
We're
super
also
easy.
still working on like a tool that they
Cool.
can just do themselves on
Perfect.
the website. It's actually been our goal. So they can just like see if they change their
Yeah.
patterns.
But I would like to
Fun.
echo as well the fees being rolled into our budget. It is a way, although passing those on to the consumer essentially raises not their rate, but it raises how much they're paying. We can also limit how much we're spending if we're passing that on, and the consumer can always use their bank account as well. And when it comes time for that discussion, I think the board wants to have it.
Are you comfortable with me maybe setting a point to have that discussion after the first, let's get to the first half of the fiscal year? Because then we'll start budgeting and planning already for the next fiscal year, and
Sure.
perhaps I can tee that for conversation then? Or are you thinking you want a more immediate solution to that? Or you want to change that direction sooner than later?
Personally, I wouldn't say it needs to be changed sooner than later. I will say that when we brought the budget up, right, in the budget meeting in June, we did have public comment on it, just so, and we're in August now. We just haven't talked about it, but we didn't have a meeting last month, so.
Okay. All right, I will make, go ahead.
I would guess that someone could speak now and say, don't do it, but I feel like we roll with it unless there's major concerns. So,
Roll with.
roll-
Adding the fee to.
Yeah, adding the fee, passing on that fee to customers.
Let me set an intentional discussion point, and the reason why is because when I got here in '22, Carla and I had that conversation. My last utility, we passed it on to the customers. The feedback that I got at the time was that the TCOP board was very intentional on not doing that. So I just want to honor, if you don't mind, let me just honor that, and we'll just have like an intentional point where you give clarity.
Yep.
And either I am supportive with which either direction you want to roll with that. I think there's pluses and minuses, but it's just a matter of just making a decision. But let me be more intentional of having that decision point or discussion point, and then this way, when we present the budget, it's taken care of.
Perfect. Thank you.
Maybe as part of that, and this might feed into in part the lack of comments that we get back from customers, it would be interesting to look at the number of people that have automatic recurring payments in place, and how many of those are credit card. And so are we setting, to the point of it being intentional, are we setting ourselves up to get more feedback? Because now, instead of it being automated payment and not looking at it to the credit card, are they going to see the rate increase and the,
Sure.
Yeah,
credit
I
card
probably wouldn't add it at the same time as the
Right.
rate increase. I think people might feel like we're kind of double dipping a little bit there. But some analysis around it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, let me give
Brandy,
you a
and- yep.
recommendation, and then how about some pros and cons, and like
Yeah.
what's it impacting and what's it not impacting?
Yeah.
And then we'll be just really intentional on which direction you want to go.
And maybe some data around what percentage of customers or how many customers actually use it
Yeah,
on a
we can-
recurring
have
or
that
on a
already.
one-time basis. That would be
Absolutely.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, we track it on a monthly basis.
And you could see how much we're saving by shifting, maybe.
okay. Other questions?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I move that the board tentatively approves the rate adjustment and housekeeping change. Is this what I'm approving? Yeah? Okay. And housekeeping change, and authorizes the secretary to set a public hearing for the October 1, 2026 rate adjustment to be held at the September 8 regular meeting, and further that a notice of the public hearing be posted on the utilities website and placed in the Traverse City Record Eagle.
Support.
Thank you. Anything from the public? Any other final comments from the board?
I just thank you for the clear way you put all this together, and yeah, I appreciate all the details.
Thank you.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we have a hearing. Okay. Almost it. Nothing from legal. We do have one other piece from staff, Brandy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, as you are aware, this is Jennifer St. Amour's last official board meeting. And I'm going to try not to embarrass her. We do have an opportunity to celebrate her later this week if you are able to make it. If not, no worries. But I did prepare some thoughts, and I'm going to read to keep me from rambling. So just bear with me. It's intended to ensure brevity. But, because obviously, Jen has provided 10 years of service to the TCOP board. There are, of course, all the things in Jen's job description, the board meetings, schedules, materials, coordination, follow-up, and countless details that keep this organization and its leadership moving. But some of Jen's most meaningful contributions to TCOP have never actually appeared in her job description. She has a remarkable way of paying attention to people. She remembers birthdays, not only yours, but sometimes your children. She knows when someone is going through something personally and quietly checks in. She has been a listening ear, a sounding board, an advocate, and at times probably an unofficial therapist to more than a few of us. We sometimes talk about leaving our personal lives at the door when we come to work, but the truth is life comes through the door with us. It sits in the office or it's with us in the field, right there next to us as we're working, and it influences us how we experience our days. Jen has always seemed to understand that. She notices the things that can easily go unnoticed, and she reminds us through her actions that taking care of an organization also means taking care of the people within it. On a personal level, Jen was instrumental in my own onboarding at TCOP. She helped me understand this organization, its history, its people, and all the things that you don't find in the manual, and a policy, an executive order, or board motion, etc. But over the years, she has been a tremendous support to me, and I'm deeply grateful for her partnership. Jen, thank you for more than 10 years of service to TCOP, but even more importantly, thank you for how you have shown up for the people of TCOP. That will be a meaningful part of our legacy here. Now, obviously, I know each of you have also worked with Jen in some capacity, whether it's obviously at the board or individually, and so I'll go ahead and pause and give you an opportunity to share any sentiment that you'd like to share before we wrap up.
I look forward to celebrating with you on Friday and thanking you again there, but it's been a real pleasure, and yeah, you'll be missed.
Enjoy your 80 acres of serenity, right? Yes, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Jen, thank you for making the transition for new board members and the orientation so seamless. I'm really grateful for that. It can be a little overwhelming coming onto a new board and trying to figure out how it all works, and you made that very easy for us. Thank you.
I second that.
And I'll say that too, because although I'm not as new as you guys, same thing. It was like having an instant sort of person that was taking care of things, and it was really nice.
It's been really nice to work with you over the last years. I think what Brandy said is just right. You'll be missed, and thank you for all you've done.
You're welcome. It's been an honor and a pleasure. And as I told Paul, I'll see all of you around town. I'm not going away.
Exciting. A fun new chapter.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, so that's all I have.
Okay, anything else from the board? Any public comment? All right, then we are adjourned until next month. Thanks all.
Thank you.
How did-